Hey everybody, it is that time again where we check out all 3 vendors to see what new goodies they have for us this week.
You'd be
Alright, first up at the Scholarium, we have Bound Affix Script Berserk, adds Berserk, a buff increasing damage done. Bound Affix Script Mangle, adds Mangle, a debuff reducing max health. Bound Focus Script Frost Damage, adds Frost Damage. And Bound Signature Script Anchorite's Cruelty, adds a Consume Soul Gem to deal Oblivion damage effect. Alright, next up is the Telvar Merchant. We are now in the Imperial Sewers, and we are about to talk to Here's the Stone.
keep throwing.
Okay, this week she has Balfoyan treasure maps. Definitely don't recommend this at 6,000 Telvar, but Balfoyan gives you Armor of the Trainee and also a chance to get Ancestral Nord belts or staves leads. We have scripts. Bound Affix Script Empower adds Empower, a buff increasing heavy attack damage. Bound Focus Script Pull adds a pull. Bound Signature Script War Mage's Defense adds a damage shield. Next up we have Fragment of Balamath, which is for the Annulment Vibrant Yellow skill style. This one comes from the Balamath Delve in Craglorn by killing the Corrupted Scion of Balamath. These are a guaranteed drop, and it's not a group delve, so I would just run in there and grab it rather than spend 5,000 Telvar. Next up are our leads. We have Dark Seducer Cameo. This one is for the Saint and the Seducer. It comes out of Vile Manse in Reaper's March, the public dungeon, from killing Sergeant Attilas. I don't think this one's particularly difficult to get. Certainly not one of the worst. And next up we have Petrified Snow Cedar. This one is for Snow Treaders and is from killing any world boss in the Rift. I don't think this is a terribly difficult one to get either. So there you go. And then, of course, we have our jewelry. We have Necklace and Ring of Beckoning Steel and Necklace and Ring of Wizard's Riposte. Next up, Infinite Archive. All right, let's see what Filer Rule has for us.
I had to use magic to...
First up is our map. It's Auradon. Again, for 2,000 Archival Fortunes. I don't recommend getting this one when it's so cheap off of traders. But if you're curious, Auradon brings us Armor of the Veiled Heritance, Queen's Elegance, and Twin Sisters gear sets, as well as a chance to get Ancestral High Elf bows or chests. Next up, we have Big Ear Ginger Kitten's Milk Saucer. This is, of course, for the Big Ear Ginger Kitten pet. It is 1 of 7 pieces that drops in Carnwasten in Somerset. That's a public dungeon. These drop fairly easily. They run about 4,000 to 5,000 gold on PCNA. I wouldn't mind if you got this one. It's not terribly difficult to get, but they are worth a little bit on the trader. So it's here if you need it. Our scripts this week. Bound Affix Script Cowardice adds Cowardice, a debuff reducing weapon and spell damage. Bound Affix Script Lifesteal adds Lifesteal, a debuff granting healing to attackers. Bound Focus Script Restore Resources adds Resource Restoration. And Bound Signature Script Immobilizing Strike adds an immobilization effect. Next up, we have our first mask style page since November, you guys. This one is the Slimecraw mask. It is quite a beautiful mask. However, it drops from Wayrest Sewers 1, which is not a difficult hard mode to get. These masks are always a pain, the style pages to drop in dungeons. So I think they're all pretty much worth it, but this one is easier to get than most. Next up is Companion Equipment Weapons. I never recommend these. You're at the mercy of RNG for what trait you get, and they are bound. So if you don't like what you get, you can't even sell it. All you can do is destroy it. Not worth 5,000 Archival Fortunes. Let's skip our books for now. Next, we have Fragment of Madness, which is one of the fragments you need for Annulment Vibrant Yellow skill style, just like the one that we saw in Imperial Sewers. This one, of course, drops from Vaults of Madness off the final boss. It is a guaranteed drop. Unless you don't run dungeons. I mean, it's a fairly easy dungeon to run. It does drop in normal, and it's guaranteed. So unless you don't run dungeons, there's really no reason to buy this one. Okay, next up we have our leads. First is Black Etheric Pearls. This one is for Sea Serpent's Coil and drops from those High Isle clams that you find along the beach. Other than those clams not being super plentiful, it's not a super difficult lead to get. Next is Carved Mora Treadles. This is for the Apocryphal Clothier Station. It drops an IA. If you're struggling with this one, make sure you're killing those side bosses as well as those little loot goblins that show up during boss fights. I think his name is like GW Pilfer or something like that. That's where the majority of my leads have come from. Then we have Malographic Ichor. Consume 50 Malographic Ichors to unlock the Ichor Most Malevolent Achievement and the Malographic Mount. This one is a guaranteed drop with your dailies from IA. At 50 Ichors times 15,000 Archival Fortunes. Definitely don't buy all of them this way. It gets really expensive really fast, and it's a guaranteed drop. So, all right, back to our books. We have Critter Dangers, Telvani Peninsula. If you've been collecting these, you might already have this one. It dropped way back in July, though, so it's been a little while. This one drops in Infinite Archive, and the eidetic memory, of course, comes from Telvani Peninsula. And next up is Journal of Kellenway. This one drops out of Scriveners, which has a notoriously horrible drop rate. And the eidetic memory drops out of Grotwood from the Aliad Ruin just north of Eldenroot. Next up, we're going to run a couple arcs of Infinite Archive and see what new gear is dropping this week. After 2 arcs of Infinite Archive, we have gear dropping from Malabal Tor. That includes Salvation, Spinner's Garments, Thunderbug's Carapace, and also from Blackwood. That includes Bog Raider, Deadlands Assassin, and Frostbite. Remember, you will only get Blackwood gear if you own the Blackwood chapter. That's going to do it for this week. We'll see you next time.